Tom Bernard here. Thanks for listening to our KQ Morning Show podcast, sponsored by our friends at Walzer Automotive Group. Walzer is proud to be the Twin Cities' one low-price dealer group. That means upfront, no haggle pricing on every single new and used vehicle they sell. With 24 dealerships over 2 states and a love-it-or-leave-it return policy, you can buy with confidence. I encourage you to experience the Walzer way to buy your next vehicle. See Walzer.com for details. Thanks for listening and enjoy our show.
The KQ Morning Show is back. Let's go! 92 KQRS.
You know, at least once a week when I'm putting my headphones on, they snap and hit me right in the head. What the hell?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's the humorous to you, is it there, Candace?
Yeah.
That's the plan? Okay. Don't worry about Uncle Tom's feelings. Seriously, about once a week I pick him up and for some reason, solves in my right hand. Let it go, hits me right in the side of the head. Thank you. Thank you very much. One of my favorite things about Fridays is by 5:42 I can already annoy Tony and Candace to the nth degree. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Happens a lot earlier than that.
It was earlier than that, pal. Well, I suppose you're right. I suppose that's true. So, yeah, Candace, if you would reach out to Michael, I would appreciate it. We just want to talk to Michael briefly about the Mohammed Noor situation because he was resentenced, got almost 5 years, got, 57 months in prison. Won't spend a lot of time talking about that, but I'd like to hear Michael's take on it. He was third-degree murder is what they convicted him the first time around. Then the judge threw that out, but they did now resentence him to 5 years, and it's for second-degree manslaughter, I believe. Is that correct? I think that's right.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
So there you go. We'll have Michael Bryant on in about an hour and 15 minutes to talk more about that situation. There's a lot of stuff in the news. Yeah, I mean, this is such a bizarre story, and I don't usually like, starting off the story with murder and, this isn't murder, it's death, but a story like this, Alec Baldwin, how the hell does that happen?
How could that possibly have been loaded?
It's not Alec Baldwin's fault. He didn't know the gun was, unless he loaded it himself, of course, but here's the deal if you haven't heard the story yet, and it's an odd one. A prop firearm. It says a prop firearm discharged by veteran actor Alec Baldwin, who was starring and producing a Western movie. Starring in, it should say. He killed his director of photography and injured another director Thursday at the movie set outside Santa Fe. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office said. Sheriff's officials say Helena Hutchins, director of photography for the movie Rust, and director Joel Souza were shot. Hutchins, 42, was airlifted to the University of New Mexico Hospital, where she was pronounced dead by the medical personnel. Souza, 48, was taken by ambulance to Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center, where he's undergoing treatment for his injuries. Production has been halted on the film. Before I continue, I want to ask you, because I own a few firearms, all pistols, I don't own a rifle. I don't understand how the hell this possibly could have happened. I don't get it. You got an understanding of how the hell this would have happened?
I assume these were live rounds. I don't know how else a prop gun could kill someone and seriously injure someone else. So,
right.
Why live rounds are anywhere near a movie set? I mean, it's happened before with I'm trying to remember his name.
The Crow.
Yeah,
The Crow,
Brandon Lee's kid.
Yep.
Is that it? Okay.
It was Brandon Lee.
Yeah, right. Brandon Lee was his name. And shot with a .44 caliber handgun from someone on the set. So I don't know. I'm baffled.
There were cases of that happening with blanks. Remember, years and years ago, there was what was it? John Eric Hexum was like an actor, stunt guy, and he put one to his head as a joke. Or something. It was a blank gun, but it still
it was
killed
blanks. Him. Because the concussion coming out, even from a blank, if you were to hold your hand in front of it, it would, seriously injure your hand. Obviously, he held it to his temple and went, "Hey, look at this!" As an actor, not knowing that this blank was going to discharge, and ended up killing himself. It was a time something. The movie. He was a time traveler. It was a television show. I remember that, but that was just stupid on his part, or maybe someone should have trained him before they put a gun with blanks in his hand. But this, couldn't have been that. He had to be back from the camera. It had to be a live round. I'm thinking. I don't know.
Well, it certainly looks like it is. We'll find out. Spokesperson for Baldwin said there was an accident on the set involving the misfire of a prop gun with blanks. It says blanks. The Santa Fe, New Mexican reported the 68-year-old Baldwin was seen Thursday outside the sheriff's office in tears. By the way, just on the way in this morning, I have heard 3 different ages for Alec Baldwin. I heard 64, 65, 67, and 68. So I don't know what the hell he is. Whatever. Attempts to get comment from him were unsuccessful. Well, I would imagine he was outside the sheriff's office in tears, apparently. The International Cinematographers Guild confirmed that the woman fatally shot was Hutchins, a cinematographer. The details are unclear at this moment. We are looking to learn more, and we support a full investigation into this tragic event. Guild President John Lindley and Executive Director Rebecca Ryan said in a statement, Hutchins, 42, was director of photography on the 2020 action film Arch Enemy, starring Joe Manganiello. And the 2015 graduate of the American Film Institute. She was named a rising star by American Cinematographer in 2019. So we'll find out more as we go along. But, 2 people, 1 dead and 1 seriously injured. It says blanks and a prop gun, but I don't see how the hell that's possible.
Was it part of a scene, or was he like goofing around and pointing it and fake shot?
I think it was a scene. I'm pretty sure it was a scene. But, as you guys pointed out, it's happened 2-3 other times. I don't understand how, but don't point that at me. Even if I'm in a movie with you, please do me a favor. Don't point that at me, all right? Who needs it? It's sad, don't you think? I mean, just, Jesus. Can you imagine me and Alec Baldwin this morning and having to live with that?
Oh, my God.
Right.
Jesus. I love the headline. I haven't seen the story, but the headline is wonderful. Rats off to Chicago. Chicago's on a pretty impressive streak that it would rather not be on. The city that has the Cubs, the Bears, and the Bulls also has more rats than anywhere else in the country. For the 7th year in a row, the Windy City tops Orkin's list of rattiest. It is called the rattiest cities. The Pest Control Company based its ranking on the amount of residential and commercial rat and mice treatments it performed over the past 12 months. Right behind Chicago are Los Angeles, New York, and Washington, D.C. That's interesting that the other 3 are on the ocean, and, of course, Chicago is on Lake Michigan. Is, in fact, a lot of shipping into Chicago. Is that what this is all about?
Probably.
Yeah, I would imagine the rats come aboard the ships and they jump off. They want to see a Cubs game. They'd like to see that. Who the hell wouldn't? You know what I'm saying. Right. You guys ever had to live with rats?
No.
No, thank goodness.
Thrill.
Yeah, no, you had them around your home. We had them around like grain bins and barns.
Right.
Then you get the old farm cats out there, using quotations, wild cats that took care of that. But you had them in the house?
Yeah, yep. I almost just said the address, but the house is still there, so thank God I didn't give the address just now. Whoa, that was close. I just drove by it yesterday. That was kind of the reason that it popped into my head just now. That we had. Matter of fact, Troy had just begun to walk. He was 2 years. Well, no, he's under 2. When kids start walking, when they're like 1.5, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes a little earlier.
A little earlier than that. Yeah. So he was probably 1 then, probably. But we hear this noise in the other room, and my brother Terry, who had just gotten home on leave, goes in the living room, and there are 3 rats circling Troy as he's walking through the...
3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? And I went in there and was like, holy God. Yeah, it's not pleasant. If you ever live with rats, don't. I will just tell you that up front. Don't do it. Run away as fast as you can. It's not pleasant at all. The remains found in the Florida park are definitely ID'd as Brian Laundrie. The FBI on Thursday identified human remains found in a Florida nature preserve as those of Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the death of girlfriend Gabby Petito while the couple was on a cross-country trip. The remains, a backpack, and a notebook believed to belong to Laundrie were discovered Wednesday in a Florida wilderness park. And you guys brought this up yesterday, and I think it's right on the money. Hey, you know what? We're going to go and look for your son in the park. And the family goes right to this spot? What? So, was this a situation, okay, I'll get back to the story, I promise, but was this a situation where he killed himself and then the animals ate him? The alligators and the this and the that ate him? Because there's only just bones left, is that correct?
Scattered remains. Skeletal remains, yeah.
Christ. So they tried to haul off some of the bones and couldn't make it out of the swamp. Is that the plan?
So
little animals in there hauling it. Got a raccoon with a thigh bone. That's nice. It's a nice touch. But Well, I suppose it's hard to tell how long he's been dead because if the animals ate him, how the hell are you going to tell how long he's been dead? You can't, can you?
I don't know. The forensics is, it's a mystery science to me, but it's pretty sophisticated. Yeah. But yeah, I have no idea if they could really pinpoint that down. They said that it had been underwater until they just reopened the park on Tuesday and the water receded and the parents went in apparently with sheriffs. Walked in with a couple of sheriff's deputies following them and went right to this spot because he had been known to go there before. But they couldn't get in there last week or something. I don't know.
Oh, it's because it's underwater.
Yeah.
The FBI's Denver office said in a news release, comparison of dental records confirmed that the remains were Laundrie. A lawyer for his parents, Steve Bertolino, also confirmed in a statement they were told the remains were those of their son. We have no further comment at this time, and we ask you to respect the Laundries' privacy at this time. No, I was thinking to give them a call. Hey, let's call the Laundries. Hey, this is the Q in the morning up here in Minnesota.
Tony prank call him.
Yeah, come on, Tony.
Hey, listen, we're talking to some people. We're thinking about going fishing. We heard your son's really good bait. Is that,
yeah, that'd be really nice. That's a radio deal right there, baby. Yeah. The FBI statement did not list the cause of death. It wasn't clear how long the remains may have been submerged in the water. The discovery of the remains concluded a massive search involving federal, state, and local law enforcement that began shortly after Laundrie disappeared on September 14th, 2 weeks after the 23-year-old returned home to his... God, that was already... That was early September when that happened, huh? Because he said he disappeared 2 weeks after the 23-year-old returned home. So that was September 14th. So he returned home like September 1st? That is honest to God. Well, Petito's family didn't report her missing until September 11th, though. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand the timing of that, but I can't believe that time flew by that quickly. They first gained online following while they're on their trip and converted Ford Transit van in videos filled with happy scenes that may have concealed deeper problems. After Petito disappeared, the case became a true crime obsession on social media. Well, I bet you guys, I know you pop on social media once in a while. I bet that thing was just everywhere on social media, huh?
Oh, yeah. It was probably the lead story, most talked about and tweeted and posted story on social media at the time. I hadn't seen anything really quite like it.
No, I would imagine that's probably true. I don't understand, and we will never understand how you get to a point. Now, they said on the news that these two like to hit one another. Was that something you heard? Apparently part of their deal was when they get in an argument, they would literally hit one another. But I don't know if they can prove that or not. Yeah. I just don't understand how you get to a point where I get in such an argument with my girlfriend that I kill her with the knowledge that I'm probably not going to make it out the other end of this. Why you do things like that, I will never understand.
It's just psychotic rage.
I suppose, but you don't have to hang out together anymore. There are other starfish in the sea, right? Go get another girlfriend.
Well, and they're so young, and they've known each other since they were very young. So, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know anyone else. She probably didn't know that a good guy existed, which is very sad.
Well, do you know?
I'm assuming when you're that young, you don't really...
You know that there aren't any guys who are around. Is that what you're saying?
Still, I'm trying to find one.
I'm trying to find one.
But at that age, how many guys do you really meet and get to know? And I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. Further on in that story, they do have a notebook that was near Laundrie's body, apparently. Many questions remain unanswered following the death of Brian Laundrie, but crime experts say the notebook found near his remains in a Florida Nature Reserve Park may shed some light on the circumstances of his disappearance and the violent death of his fiancée, Gabby Petito. The FBI confirmed Thursday, just yesterday, that the remains found in Carlton Reserve, as we said, definitely belonged to Laundrie, who vanished last month. Law enforcement also found some of Laundrie's personal items in a reserve, including a backpack, a notebook, a dry bag, and some clothing. Laundrie was not charged in Petito's death, although the FBI on Wednesday had described him as a person of interest in the murder. Experts told CNN that the notebook believed to be Laundrie's could offer some insight into a story that has grabbed public attention. If that notebook contained, for example, information that could have been admissions, it could be projected in blame or rationalization. All that information could help in the determination, former FBI profiler Jim Clemente said on Thursday. As a parent, though, would you even give a rat's ass? He killed her. That's all I know. right? Boy, that would be hard to deal with. And she was only, wasn't she a couple years younger than him? He was 23 and she was 21 or something like that, or 23 and 25?
Yeah, I think she was 23.
She was 23, yeah. And he was like 25 or something.
Yeah.
They're not very old, as Candace said. I don't know, man. The whole thing is just very, I thank God I have never been in a relationship like that where things like I hit someone or someone hit me or I never went through that whole deal. Thank God.
What if there's just doodles and cartoons in his notebook? Some sick slap in the face. They'll get nothing.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's like, it's Mr. Happy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be
I want to take
wonderful.
one word of that notebook to just throw it away.
Yeah.
So the notebook wasn't underwater? What, he put in a big,
that's interesting.
Ziploc or something? Or because, presumably that would have been underwater as well, right? I don't know what kind of shape it's in. But they do amazing stuff in those FBI labs.
Well, although it might have been in that dry bag, right? Because they said there was a dry bag.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I suppose it would have been, yeah.
Had to have been, otherwise you're right. It would have just melted away, and certainly the ink would have, whatever. You know what I'm talking. It's just a very, very sad story. Once again, there's no reason for two young people to be dead. It's just bad ciphering, man. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do about that, but it's really, really sad. The whole thing is there's no other way to get around it. And ladies and gentlemen, the co-owner of a popular Twin Cities bakery is in the finals of Food Network's Halloween. See how we switched to like happy news? Look at that's called transition, bitches. Okay? See what I'm saying? That's four people working together. That's all that is. Right? The co-owner of a popular Twin Cities bakery is in the finals of Food Network's Halloween Baking Championship, Megan Baker. A baker named Baker. I like that.
That's funny.
It works for me. So in other words, our name should be Tom, Brian, Candace, and Tony Smartass. That should be our name. If you're a baker and you're a baker, okay. Megan Baker, who owns the Thirsty Whale Bakery. Where's the Thirsty Whale? I don't know where that is.
I've heard of it. I don't know.
We'll find out. We'll track it down. The Thirsty Whale Bakery in Minneapolis with her husband, Kyle, will compete in the final season 7 of the baking competition, with the episode airing at 8 p.m. on Monday on the Food Network. Well, that's nice to see. I'd like to see that. This year's competition began on September 13th with 10 bakers competing in baking challenges. Here's what I love about this story, okay? It is 5:59 in the morning, about to turn 6 o'clock, and Brian and I get to stare at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of cake in a picture. That cake looks really good. I'll tell you that. What's the lower, and then on the picture it'd be the upper left corner. What is that? It's like a wedge of something.
Oh, see, I'm on their website. I just emailed their website. So I went to their website to see even more photographs. And look out. This is all I'm going to be thinking about this morning.
Oh, it looks delicious. Megan, 2000 Southeast Elm Street. That's all I got to say. Man, that looks good. This year's competition began on September 13th with the 10 bakers competing for $25,000. Baker is one of 4 contestants remaining, and according to the synopsis for the finale, they'll have to bake using a hated ingredient, at Camp Devil's Food Lake. Where the hell is Devil's Food Lake?
Sounds made up.
Cool.
Yeah, like a horror movie site.
Camp Devil's Food Lake. They're going to they have to bake using a hated ingredient at Camp Devil's Food Lake. So there you go. Baker has wanted to compete on the Food Network since she opened a bakery, and she's no stranger to high-pressure baking competitions. He and her husband won multiple categories at the National Cake Decorating Championship. Well, I can see that because the cake, the picture you sent over, the two of you, pissing me off because it looks really good, and I don't have any. She's also won 3 top prizes at the Pillsbury Bakers Creative Cake Decorating Competition in 2017. Oh, there's a picture over there. She's got a big smile on her face, so that's good. I'm sorry. I'm really glad that I'm not like a celiac or any of that stuff. I love baked goods, man. I do. I mean, a piece of last night, as a matter of fact, Lunds Byerly's has these little they're about 1 inch square and about 2 inches tall, these little brownies. Holy Christ, were they good. That's what I was doing. I was going over to visit my grandkids. Hey, look who's here. Bop, bop, and I got some sugar, baby.
Yeah. Right before bedtime, I hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The closer I could get, the better it would be. I'm sure my daughter would be very happy with me on that one.
Hey, just because you're talking about the neighborhood, they're reopening the Edina Theater.
I know. I've been talking to Michelle Mann about that. I love Michelle Mann. She's a wonderful person. But yeah, look, Tony, everybody, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I talked to Michelle about it. I said I want to be there on opening night. That Edina Theater over there, now it turned into an arts theater, and there were some great things. I love, and this will show you kind of what a lame brain I really am. I get excited because I go to the Edina Theater and go up the escalator.
I love
that. Why, Tony? Why do we care?
It just evokes good memories because you're anticipating the fun you're going to have.
You're absolutely right. But yeah, they're going to open probably early next year. I'm really looking for that whole area, 50th in France. I love that whole area down there anyway. It's great. Hanging out there. It's a very popular corner, as a matter of fact. So, Michelle, thank you. Matter of fact, we'll have her on, Tony. Now that you brought it up, we'll get a hold of Michelle Mann and have her on, talk about their plans for the Edina Theater. I almost said it's a landmark, but it was actually a landmark theater, so I didn't want to say that. I don't mean that kind of landmark. I mean, it really is. It's an iconic theater, I guess is the best way to put it. I miss all those theaters now. You guys probably wouldn't remember this. You're a little younger than I am, but the World Theater, all the theaters that used to be downtown, the Gopher Theater, the World Theater, the Lyric Theater, all those. I miss that kind of stuff, man, because you go there and, again, at the Gopher Theater is where I saw The Exorcist. And the dog almost fell over the balcony because he was laughing so hard. So, only I would go to The Exorcist and have a guy laughing so hard he almost plummets. But he thought that movie was hilarious, by the way. There was not one scene in the movie The Exorcist that made him uncomfortable. He thought it was hilarious. Look, Catman, look, she's spinning her head around. Yeah, I can see that. Thank you.
The dog may have had mind blindness.
What? What's that?
I just sent you a story. If scary stories don't scare you, you might have mind blindness.
Mind blindness. Okay, I can look at the thirsty whale. Got ADHD. That one might have got. I'll check. We're having a deal right now. And by the way, I talked to my son Andy. We've had stuff going to spam, and I talked to Andy, and he straightened it away. So all I got to do is I've already done it with some of it. I haven't done it with all of it, but yeah, it just it likes going to spam for some reason. I'm looking at spam right now.
If I want something to go to my inbox, it almost always goes to spam. It drives me crazy.
Well, there you go. And there it was. It's in spam. Absolutely. I am going to report not spam. I'm going to click that as soon as I'm done reading. What do you think of that action? Huh?
There you go.
If scary stories don't scare you, you might have mind blindness. We're coming up with the spookiest week of the year, but it turns out some people are easier to scare than others. A recent study found that scary stories just don't work on some of us. It has to do with something called mind blindness. The clinical term is aphantasia. It's when someone can't really picture things in their head, so telling them a scary story and setting the scene just doesn't work that well. Up to 1 in 20 people have it. 5% of the population have aphantasia. God, I didn't know that. Researchers recently told people scary stories half had mind blindness and half didn't. They basically proved it's true. The scary stories didn't work on them, but scary images did. So it wasn't because they had a higher scare threshold in general. The stories just didn't paint a picture for them. I would not care for that. That would be picturing how things are in your mind is very important to me, as I would assume it is to you guys too, isn't it?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would that mean you have less of the ability to have an imagination?
I would imagine your sense of humor couldn't be that good either if you can't picture things in your head. Boy, I would not care for that at all. You lame bastards that have it. You heard me, the 5% of you. You heard what I said. Yeah, I don't know. It's that's too bad that if you do have mind blindness, I'm sorry for your situation because, man, I love picturing things in my noggin. You know what I mean? Don't you?
Yeah, I was just thinking about reading, and in particular,
yep.
I mean, that's the joy of reading, is creating that in your head. I've read scary stories before where, as an adult, I went and made sure the doors were locked.
Ooh, I like it.
Because you just, you get yourself so worked up from those images you create in your mind.
You're absolutely right on the money about that. And the one I always use is The Great Gatsby, one of the opening paragraphs talking about the wedding cake ceiling and the curtains blowing with the breeze. I picture that in my mind very clearly every time I read that book. And I've never seen it. I've never, I suppose it is in the movie, but they don't kind of focus on that. But it talks about this lovely view. Was it Egg Island, right? Was it East Egg or West Egg or some egg?
Yeah, well, both. Yeah, East Egg. I forget. It must have been East Egg is the hoity-toity, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah, because that would be on the ocean or further on the ocean or whatever. But, yeah, exactly what you're talking about. When I read, my reading, all I do, and it takes me a bit longer to read books than it used to because I picture even more things as I'm reading along. Mm-hmm. How this character looks or, whatever the situation is. So I would not care to have mind blindness. Gosh. Those people end up in management. Thank you very much. Great to be here. You got to sneak it in, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to sneak it in there once in a while just to be a prick. You know what I'm saying? Okay, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Ooh, speaking of your Halloween, which is coming up a week from Sunday already. It's only 9 days away now, Halloween. The house served as a facade for the final girl Nancy Thompson's home in Wes Craven's 1984 horror opus A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nancy's House from A Nightmare on Elm Street hits the market. It's on, that house is on sale. Now, where is it again? Los Angeles, but it doesn't say where it's in. It's a nice house. I would look at that house and say, back in the day, well, it's a nice house. It's got to be worth several $100,000. Well, this house is on the market for $3.25 million.
Jeez.
No, thank you. I'm good to go. One of Freddy Krueger's favorite haunts has hit the market. It's not even on Elm Street, the Los Angeles home that served as a facade for the final girl Nancy Thompson's house in the beloved 1984 horror film A Nightmare on Elm Street has hit the market for $3.25 million. And offers are being accepted until midnight on Halloween. Heather T. Roy and Lerka Bosnak of Douglas Elliman hold the listing. The house has served as a beloved sightseeing stop for horror fans since it first appeared in Wes Craven's slasher favorite, as well as its 1985 sequel, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge. Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund visited the home in the dreams of the franchise's doomed teenagers, torturing and killing them in their sleep. Well, now I want to buy the house that people were tortured and killed in there. I talk about the coincidences in life quite often, and just yesterday I went through, it's not tied to this in any way, but kind of, I guess. I was just kind of driving around thinking about stuff. I had a bunch of meetings to attend, so I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about in the meetings and all that, and I'm driving around my old neighborhood, because I like to do that. It just reminds me of being a kid and where I was and where I am now. And I often do that. I like to re-reference life. I think it's a good thing to do. But I drove past North Memorial Hospital, right there where Theodore Parkway runs into Lowry Avenue. And they're completely restructuring that intersection, I suppose, the traffic there, because my God, North Memorial's gotten huge, man. They got a lot of buildings over there now. But I was thinking, in a way, it's sad, because as I went under the bridge, I do remember they were shooting a movie when they were building that bridge, and it wasn't complete yet. They shot a scene in, what the hell movie was that? Somebody would know. 651-989-ROCK, 651-989-ROLL. But I looked back in that time. I think I was probably about 12 or 13, maybe 14. And I watched them film that scene. I didn't know they were going to do it. I just happened upon it. And I thought, well, that's going to be kind of sad, because they're going to change that whole deal, and now the memory will be gone. What the hell's that? Put the damn bridge back. You heard me. You heard what I said. It was, oh, God, I can't remember the book. I'll think of it, though. I will come up with it. But, that's progress. Have you guys been up in that neighborhood at all in the last couple of years? No. They're Lowry and Theater with Park. The only reason I bring it up, my God, the building up there on North Memorial, that thing is expanding. They got, it's very, very impressive. I will tell you that. A lot of people doing a lot of work on it, though. Did you guys ever seen a movie scene shot?
Yeah, sure.
It's really interesting, don't you think?
Was the one you're thinking about, what was it shot in the 60s? Was it Slaughterhouse-5?
Yes, that's exactly right. Very good, Tone.
I only remember that because I was reading the book years later, and I saw the movie, and for some reason I recognized, like, the highways and just the way the city looked, and I went, God, that looks like Twin Cities, and it turns out it was.
It was indeed. It was basically 81. Broadway Avenue crosses right through there as well. So you got Lowry, you got Theater with Parkway, you got Broadway, Highway 81. Yeah, that's exactly where they shot it, right where you're thinking. So, yeah, Slaughterhouse-5. How lame is it? Who the hell wrote Slaughterhouse-5? That pisses me off.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great book.
My favorite Kurt Vonnegut story on the airplane. Do you guys ever hear that one?
What?
Great story. Kurt Vonnegut became a huge success writing books, and he would go on the talk shows. Therefore, he became instantly recognizable on the streets and all that stuff. So he changed his appearance a bit and made up a story. When he was on an airplane, if somebody engaged him in conversation, well, what do you do for a living, sir? He used to say, I write books. I'm Kurt Vonnegut or whatever. He decided he just wanted some peace and quiet on airplanes. So the guy says to him, so, mister, what do you do for a living? And Kurt Vonnegut said, fitter. And the guy goes, really? I'm the president of the Pipe Fitters Union.
Oops.
Talked about pipe fitting for 4 hours. One of the great stories of all time. Really? I'm the president of the Pipe Fitters Union. We had a meeting. Can you imagine that flight? Oh, God. The greatest of all time. I remember him telling that story. God, it was great. A great, great story, man. If you ask the average American what the most stressful age of their life was, Candace couldn't answer. Because you're not old enough yet.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. You're right at 30, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. If you ask the average American what the most stressful age of their lives was, I would disagree. Most stressful for me would have been my late teen years, but that's because of stuff that happened. I suppose, wouldn't it all matters what happened in this period, I suppose.
Sure.
But the average is 36.
What?
If you ask the average American what the most stressful age of their lives was, they'd probably say however old they are right now. Well, that's true. But there's an actual answer according to the research. A new study found the average American feels the most stressed at 36. So, Candace, aren't you looking forward to that in 6 more years?
Wow, it only gets better, doesn't it?
By coincidence, when you turn 36, I might be considering retirement. You go, oh, God, I lost time. I'm so stressed out.
Maybe.
Yeah, she goes, maybe. I'm not certain of that, but... Well, thank you. They didn't explain how they got that number, so we're assuming it's just an average response from a poll, but it makes sense. People are really drilling into adulting by that age with a mortgage, a family, a career in their 30s, maybe the decade they have the least amount of free time. There's some good news, though. Nearly 2/3 of people say they're better at managing stress than they were 10 years ago, although 18% of people say they feel stress all the time. Well, right now you do kind of, don't you? I mean, just the way the world is right now, there's a bit of stress there all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is for me, I know. People say sleep problems is the number one thing that tips them off, that they're stressed. Headaches are not, well, again, if you got sleep problems, THC. Get to the doc, bitches. You heard me. The only problem with THC sleeping is if you take a bit too much, and I mean just a bit too much, you're going to have a bitch of a time waking up in the morning. That's the one problem with THC. You sleep so well, you don't want to get up. Which, you guys ever done it? You ever done THC to sleep?
Not to sleep, but when I was in Colorado and got some edibles, that's what it did. It put me to sleep.
Yep.
We decided to do some edibles and watch a movie, and you're right, waking up just to go to bed. It wasn't in the morning, but because I fell asleep and I woke up super stoned, and and then just trying to get to bed was a trip in itself.
Oh yeah, man. You do too much of that stuff. You wake up in the morning like, I don't want to go to school, Ma. It's one of those deals, pretty much. So yeah, people say sleep problem, number one thing that tips them off that they're stressed. Headaches are number 2, followed by food cravings, high blood pressure, and brain fog. Yeah, see, that's the problem you got. If you can't sleep and you start, it does make you, not everybody, of course, but it makes some people very, very hungry to not get any sleep. The only solace they have is in eating food, apparently. So it can cause a lot of problems. So Candace, Tony and Brian and I made it through, and now it's up to you, sister. You know what I mean? Do you hear me?
All right, I'm down.
Get off your ass and handle 36. That's all I'm telling you, sister. Do you anticipate any major problems in your mid-30s?
I can't think that far ahead.
Okay. Well, no, I understand that. I understand why some people just don't like to think that. Okay, I just saw a headline that Brian sent me a story, and it stopped me dead in my tracks because this guy might be the biggest douchebag in the history of the world. We talk a lot about texting and driving. Yes, we do, because people are constantly weaving from lane to lane to lane, and you drive by and they're looking at their phone almost every time. It's against the law. I really wish you wouldn't do that. So we talk a lot about texting and driving, but here's something that doesn't get as much press for some reason, and I don't know why. Because I know all three of you have told me you've seen this before, and we've never brought it up on the queue. A guy near Toronto got pulled over Wednesday for driving while playing a flute with both his hands. Now, how do you drive? Do you steer with your knees?
Yeah, you can do that. I used to do that.
I saw a young lady doing it just the other day.
Not that kind of flute.
The skin.
What now? The skin what? Oh, driving with her knees?
No, the reference to the skin flute. No, yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay. I didn't say skin flute. I just said not that kind of flute.
Well, that's the logical leap, obviously.
Oh. Okay, you're right.
I drive a truck, so I can look down into the cars when I go by. And sometimes I go by, and this car was going 25 and a 45. And I thought, okay.
Oh.
And they're in the left lane. I thought, all right, well, I'll make a little old lady on her way to the grocery store, try to give her a little room here. So I pull around to the right, and as I'm going by, I glance into the car, and there she is driving with her knees, a young lady just, and by the way, texting, the dexterity and ability to text. I can't move my thumbs that fast anyway, let alone type words. So it was impressive, but super dangerous. Keep this in mind, that more people now die from distracted driving than drinking and driving. So if you're texting and driving, it's no different than drinking and driving.
No, you're right. That's exactly right. It's no different. You're absolutely right about that. So don't do it. Really bad idea. So now we got a flute play. He was sitting at a red light playing along to a song on his iPod. Then the light changed. He continued to play as he started driving again. Some cops happened to be out doing distracted driving enforcement and pulled him over. Boy, look at the timing of that one, baby. They happened to be out doing distracted driving enforcement. They posted a photo with the flute, which was made of wood, not metal. Isn't that a clarinet?
No, it's like a lute.
Well, that's a lute. Okay. They weren't able to provide the name of the song. I really don't care what song he was playing. I assume it was,
What's it?
Who gives a rat's ass? Oh, that song. Okay. Well, that would be Ian, what's his name? Was it Ian Anderson, right?
Yeah.
Play the flute.
Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull, there it is. They weren't able to provide the name of the song he was playing along to, but they gave him a ticket and told him not to flute and drive. He got charged with fluting and driving. That's a pretty good name. I like that name. It's a good one. Yeah, don't do that. Could you pay attention to the road? I'd like to get home to my family. That would be wonderful. If you wouldn't kill me on the highway, I'd really appreciate it. We got to take a break in a couple of seconds here, but I got to tell you something. You want to talk about a guest list? Remember I was bragging about working with Candace yesterday because of the guest list? Mm-hmm. Remember that? Mm-hmm. How about today? We got Barry Bostwick, phenomenal. He's on at 8. We got Bob Sansevier. He drags us backwards, but No, I'm just... No, we got Sandy up at 7. Well, first of all, we got Sandy up at 7:30, which is good. Sandy at 7:30, Barry Bostwick at 8 o'clock. At 8:30, you guys, if you don't love this guy, I'll be shocked. We've had him on the podcast. Giovanni Rocco spent years undercover he was an FBI agent in the mafia. This is the guy said, do you like DiGiorno macaroni and cheese pizza? And he said, after pausing, you lost me at DiGiorno.
Can't wait for him.
Oh, he's a great guy. Giovanni Rocco's on at 8:30. At 9:30, the lovely and talented, I love this woman, Mary Mack, will be with us at 9:30. I miss her. I haven't seen her in a couple of years because this damn COVID deal. Mm-hmm. What's that?
I know.
Right?
Yep.
You horn-tootin' sister. Mr. Mike Evans, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Tommy Berner.
Berner.
So today is National Nut Day. What's your favorite nut?
Cashews.
Everybody's saying cashews. I love cashews. I love walnuts. I tell you what, they got those big jars at Costco of mixed nuts. You ever had those?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love those. Love those. So really, the big sad news in Hollywood today is Alec Baldwin accidentally killing a crew member and also wounding one of the directors. It was shot with one bullet from a prop gun. The investigation continues. Alec, understandably, is in seclusion and devastated. There was only one prop person on staff. Why there would ever be a live gun on a movie in a prop gun? Boy, somebody's going to answer for that. There's no excuse to ever have a hot gun on a movie set ever.
Mike, we kind of speculated. We got up to about 3 times this has happened. It happened in the then the guys brought up another one. Do you know how often does this happen? This is like the 3rd one we could come up with.
I know. And again, there's no reason to have a hot gun on a movie set. I mean, there's no reason to have one there, especially in the prop closet. I mean, unbelievable.
Yep.
I got a love nugget for you. It is true. Kris Jenner is the intermediator for Kim and Kanye. Kim and Kanye rarely talk by phone, even less face-to-face. But when they actually do talk face-to-face, Kris makes sure the media knows so they can be there and watch. Everything is arranged by Kris Jenner, always looking for publicity. No surprise there. Odd partnership, Olivia Newton-John has been fighting breast cancer and winning, and says homegrown cannabis has been a big help and helping her grow the best pot she can, none other than Snoop Doggy Dogg. Good for him. I don't think it's serious. However, 46-year-old Angelina Jolie and The Weeknd are still keeping time together. Meanwhile, Jolie's old husband, who I really like a lot, Billy Bob Thornton, was married for the 6th time last year to actress Connie Anglin, who he met on the 2003 set of Bad Santa. They have one daughter together, and, Billy Bob Thornton says he no longer wears blood around his neck that Angelina used to insist on.
Sure, absolutely.
You don't wear blood around your neck from your wife, do you?
I do not, but I love Billy Bob Thornton. I will tell you.
I do. He's great. What did you say, girl?
I love him.
Yeah. In a very heterosexual way, I find him a very attractive man.
He is.
So, you guys, remember he was on the show and he said, yeah, Tom, you're a friend of mine. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Very nice. That was very nice of him.
Very nice. Movie Review Friday, showing at Marcus Theater, Dune. Lives up to all the hype of sci-fi, drama, and a love story. 200 years from now, it's all about determination and extermination. This is a classic case of good versus evil and bravery over fear. It is a new age world. This is a franchise for many years. Great story, great effects, great acting. Maybe the next Star Wars. I don't know. Rated R, 2 hours long, 3.5 stars at Marcus Theater. Check it out. Also at Marcus Theater, Ron, Gone, Wrong. This is an animated film about a Bebot robot for kids. It's animated, and a movie that adults will also love. A Bebot robot is every kid's best friend and wish, but when a programming code problem makes its way into our kid, the star of our movie, into his Bebot, Bebot is out of control. In Houston, we have a problem. One of the really creative animated films. The Rogue Bot makes this also a really fun film to watch. If you see it, I guarantee you'll like it. It's rated PG-13, 2 hours, 3 stars also at Marcus. Quick television comment. I like your comment on this. What do you think about this, Tommy? Mayim Bialik has been hosting Jeopardy for 2 weeks. I think she's fabulous. I say the heck with Ken Jennings. She's great.
Yep, she is. She's very good.
Really good. Best docudrama out there this weekend. If you want to see something really good, it's on Hulu. It is called Dope Sick. If you've ever known anybody hooked on opioids, this is must-see. Dope Sick. They are now airing the 4th episode. There's only 1 season. Check it out. Get caught up this weekend. Also might want to get caught up with the Dodgers making a big comeback last night.
Here we go.
I'm telling you, we got our 2 best pitchers going to Atlanta. Don't count us dead yet. Of course, if they get beat, I'll be hearing about it from Tommy on Monday. I know that. Health reports, Queen Elizabeth already canceled a trip. Now she spent at least 1 night in the hospital. Some kind of illness, not good. Celine Dion has canceled her 3-month Vegas show. Some kind of illness, not good. But what really is good is Aloha Friday. No work till Monday. We're going to play day Aloha Friday. Tommy Werner, I am making you a promise. The Minnesota Vikings will not lose this weekend. Lily Okalani, Maniani, okay, Laku, and a cock and a ark, and hui, 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 oh. Come on!
Smart ass. They have the week off, of course. Typical. Yep, Vikes have a bye week this week. That's why he was so bold with his prediction. Right there. Ladies and gentlemen, a little traffic information. Candace KQ.
Don't
you
we
want to do
bit
traffic
first? Don't we do a
Oh, that's right.
bit?
You're absolutely right. You know, I finally remembered to bring the bit thing up on the screen, and then I blew it on the traffic.
Suck!
I gotta get my brain lined up properly. I'm not used to being accurate or something.
I'm not crazy!
I am. Coming up, well, we use music to cheer ourselves up twice a week. That'll be an interesting story. I think that's probably true. We use music to cheer ourselves up twice a week. And the bad news, the largest candy corn factory has been hacked. The news is next, KQ.
We'll be right back with more KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Tom Bernard here. Thanks for listening to our KQ Morning Show podcast, sponsored by our friends at Walzer Automotive Group. Walzer is proud to be the Twin Cities' one low-price dealer group. That means upfront, no haggle pricing on every single new and used vehicle they sell. With 24 dealerships over 2 states and a love-it-or-leave-it return policy, you can buy with confidence. I encourage you to experience the Walzer way to buy your next vehicle. See Walzer.com for details. Thanks for listening and enjoy our show.
The KQ Morning Show is back. Let's go! 92 KQRS.
6:49, 11 minutes till 7 o'clock at KQRS News and Information. As a matter of fact, Michael Bryant coming up at 7 o'clock talking about the Mohammed Noor case. Just about 10 minutes from now. Right now, Halloween's just around the corner, and candy corn. You guys love candy corn?
Mm-hmm.
What about?
I do. I like it.
I think I agree with Brian. I kind of like it, but I don't love it.
I like it with peanuts.
Oh, great combo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that.
You haven't lived.
I've never. So is it the dry roasted peanuts and the candy corn?
Yeah.
Really? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
How about
that's all you have left in the house then?
What do you mean? It's beautiful. How about cashews and candy corn? Would that be any good?
Sure.
What's up with cashews? And
I love cashews. They're crooked, just like me. What do you think of that action? Actually, they're curved. They're not crooked.
And they're really
just made that
dense.
up. Just like you.
Oh,
baby.
Dang.
Oh, damn. Goddamn, boy. Yeah, I'm not a huge candy corn lover, I understand. But I do like it when they put the different colors on for Halloween, so that's good. Right? Because they're usually white and orange, but then they go like dark brown, white, and orange for Halloween.
What? No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
they
you
don't
can get
change the colors.
Yes,
Are you
they do.
serious?
Mm-hmm.
What
They
the
do them for
hell?
Christmas, too.
Yep.
Okay, only a psychopath eats candy corn at Christmas.
No. Don't insult Tony as a nice Jewish boy. They have special candle-shaped candy corn for the 8 days of Hanukkah. So
a lovely treat year-round, you skeptic.
Damn right. Not getting a lot of support on the candy corn argument. Halloween is just around the corner, and candy corn lovers everywhere should be experiencing peak joy, but that joy is under attack. A company in Chicago called Ferrera Candy makes Brock's candy corn, which accounts for 85% of the country's candy corn market, and earlier this month they were hacked. You hacked candy corn. Really? They were hit with a malicious ransomware attack, but no other specifics have been released. The hack did disrupt production, and the company's still working to restore everything back to 100%, but it doesn't sound like there will be any candy corn shortages. So what the candy corn company was hacked? They make that much money that hacking them is... there's got to be some reason they hacked them, right? Why would they hack candy corn company?
Maybe the hackers aren't doing their jobs anymore either. Maybe they screwed up. In fact, they were getting into some, because haven't they hacked, power grids and transportation systems, even tried to get into the beef supply, we know, earlier this year. And maybe somebody just screwed up and went, damn it, accidentally hacked the candy corn factory.
So what if it was an accident? That would be pretty cool, actually, thinking about it. You hacked the wrong thing. How lame are you to hack the candy corn factory, for Christ's sake? I don't know. What do you think? You like what are we going to do? Okay, so two of us are going to say we don't like candy corn. The other two like candy corn. So who's going to break the tie? There should be somebody, right?
I think a fist fight is the only way to go.
A fist fight between Candace and who?
Myself.
Just punch yourself in the head. That's what you're going to do. That's really, really sweet. I don't think there's any question about that. Okay. To get off the candy corn thing, we'll move in a much healthier, much tastier direction. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Chinese news service, according to Japan's Yomiuri Shimbun report on the 20th, local time, part of the diagnosis and treatment building of the hospital of Osaka University of Medicine, Japan, mistakenly connected the toilet water to the drinking water pipeline. How do you mistakenly connect the toilet water? I don't get it.
Right next to each other? Yeah, I don't know.
Why would you put them right next to each other for that very reason? Don't do that. I don't get it. This situation's been going on for nearly 30 years. They've been drinking toilet water for 30 years. During the period. How do you... does anybody speak Japanese?
No.
We call Andy. I'll call my son Andy. Andy, how do you say this tastes like toilet water in Japanese? Call in. 651-989-ROCK. If you know how to say this tastes like toilet water in Japanese.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese.
God, I love that. That is one of the greatest bits of all time. No question. Okay, so here's the deal. During the period, the staff and patients of the hospital have been mistakenly using toilet water for drinking, washing their hands, and to gargle. Kind of chunky today. I don't know why, but... According to reports, Osaka University in Japan announced that in part of the medical building of the affiliated hospital of the Ministry of Medicine, the well water that was simply treated should have been used for flushing toilets, but the well water pipe was incorrectly connected to the water drinking pipe. There are 120 taps of water with this error. According to reports, the hospital was built in 1993, and the water pipe connection error lasted for 30 years as the hospital was preparing to build a new diagnosis and treatment building. I'd be a little pissed off if that happened at the Q. Although I'd never drink out of the fountain at the Q. No way.
Why?
It's the Q.
Oh.
There are disc jockeys there who probably put their entire mouth over the spigot.
Well, only when I'm really thirsty.
Yeah, see? I knew it. Typical. So according to reports, the hospital checks the color, smell, and taste of the water once a week. Judging from existing records, there's been no problem since April 2014, according to Osaka University. Through the investigation of water quality, no health hazards have been found, so that's good. The person in charge publicly apologized for this. He said the university hospitals that provide advanced medical services have caused the public's anxiety, and I'm very sorry for this. Well, you should be. Once again, I don't understand how do you make a mistake like that? I don't get it. Anyone?
And then you don't notice it for 30 years.
For 30 years. So did anybody figure it out? How do you say this tastes like toilet water in Japanese? No one called in. Damn it. Any day now, ladies and gentlemen, any day. This, in a way, makes me sad because I do miss A&W. Now, are there A&W still open in the Twin Cities? Because there used to be one down on Minnehaha there. The one I loved as a kid was out in Robbinsdale, but I know that one's not there anymore. Do you guys know where are the open A&Ws in the Twin Cities? Do you know?
Is that one in Invergrove Heights still open? I don't know. There was also one down in Buffalo, because I live in Prior Lake and I used to go to Buffalo all the time. Paulie's down there and around that area. And I remember taking the girls to that A&W, but geez, that was over more than 10 years ago. So I don't know.
The A&W selling a 3.9 or what is a 3.9 pound burger? Do they mean what is a 3/9 of a pound? So why don't they just say a third?
Well, that's the story.
Third of a pound. Okay. Well, anyways, there's got to be a reason. A&W is selling a 3.9 pound burger because Americans are bad at math. Okay. No wonder we were confused by this. Like, whoa. An interesting marketing strategy. A&W is trying to get more people into their restaurants by insulting our intelligence. Back in the 80s, they tried to compete with McDonald's Quarter Pounder by selling a third pound burger for the same price, but it failed because people were confused by fractions. Well, if they're not confused by a Quarter Pounder, why would they be confused by a third pounder?
Because 3 is less than 4, Tom.
Oh, for Christ's sake. They can't be that dumb. I might tear up. Is that real? Oh, God, the 3/9 burger. You're absolutely right. 4 is bigger than 3, so they thought a third pound burger was smaller than a quarter pound burger. But. Okay.
Well, see, maybe this is good news, Tom. Maybe the glass is half full here, because clearly we've been stupid for a long time. We're not getting dumber. We're just more aware of it now than maybe we used to be, because back in the 80s, apparently a large portion of the population was pretty stupid.
So, that's a solid argument right there. We're just dumb bastards. I like it. I'm serious. I do like that. It's like we're just stupid. That's the whole... Well, that's the problem. A lot of people have that argument with our news today. You watch the news and go, are people stupid enough to really believe this is true? And apparently they are. I mean, it's just sad. That's, again, we've talked about this before. That's the difference between intelligence and education. And education just means I gave you facts about something that I believe in. Doesn't mean it's true, but I believe it. So I can educate you in my certain area of expertise. And education is not necessarily a great thing for people to be getting. Since we're 24th in the world now, that is not good news. And I'm not blaming the teachers. I'm blaming the system. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so back to this puny third pound burger. Back in the 80s, they tried to compete with McDonald's Quarter Pounder by selling a third pounder for the same price, but it failed because people were confused by the fractions and thought a Quarter Pounder was bigger than a third of a pound. So now A&W is bringing that burger back, but changing the name. Instead of the third pounder, they're calling it the 3/9 pounder. Okay, well, fine. Obviously, the whole thing is tongue-in-cheek, but they're hoping the bigger numbers will make people understand it's larger than a Quarter Pounder, not smaller. That's really sad, isn't it? Let's go with a half pounder. No, 2's even smaller than 3. Oh, God. I might have to go home and go back to bed. Okay. All right. Here's a crime you'll only see in October. A 40-year-old guy in Pittsburgh is facing charges for throwing a pumpkin at a woman's noggin. His name is James Gazis, and he was at home and he heard his wife start yelling at someone outside. The woman she was yelling at was their neighbor's mom, who was there picking up her grandkids. Yes, he threw a pumpkin at a grandmother. James's wife became angry because the woman was parked in front of their house. She also claimed the woman almost hit their child when she pulled up, but footage from a security camera showed that wasn't true at all. James came running out, believing whatever his wife was saying, and threw a pumpkin at the woman's windshield. Jesus. Then he tossed another one through the driver's side window, and it hit her in the face. She ended up with a concussion. Then he also got into a fist fight with his neighbor, who was the victim's son. Jesus, nice neighborhood. Christ. James is facing charges for aggravated. Now, a pumpkin doesn't say how big the pumpkin was that hit her in the noggin, but those things are hard as hell, man.
Yeah.
They don't give a whole lot that I can remember.
Unless they're, it's like October 31st or November 1st when they're really rotten and mushy.
But that's the squirrels' problem. Those squirrels, man, they love those rotten pumpkins, baby. They'll get after your pumpkin if you leave it out there too long. James is facing charges for aggravated assault and, quote, propulsion of missiles. Oh, propulsion of missiles. What do you think about that action?
I almost want one of those on my record. Almost.
Yeah, let's not go with yeah, you're right. Let's not, let's stay away from that. Cheers to this. Margaret DeLulo of West Lawn, Pennsylvania, soon to be 107 years old. Happy birthday. And she says one of the secrets to her long life is drinking a can of beer every day, specifically the local brand Yuengling. Well, Yuengling heard the news and surprised Margaret with a gift. Now, I have to ask you a question, because I only heard about Yuengling about maybe 5-10 years ago, something like that. Have they always been around? Because somebody told me they've always been around.
Oh, yeah. Having been born in Pennsylvania and most of my relatives living in central PA, Yuengling's western PA, but still it's very popular in Minnesota along with Rolling Rock. They got to be very hip there for a while among the hipsters. So Yuengling's been around, I bet, more than 100 years. It's an old beer.
That's what I understand, but I had never heard of it until like 5-10 years ago.
I don't think they started shipping it out to the Midwest.
Oh.
I could easily be wrong on this, but I didn't hear about it showing up in the Midwest until, you said 5 or 10 years ago, maybe. So I wonder if they just didn't. It was just kind of a Northeast beer until they started shipping her out.
I guess so. Same with Coors and all those other brands, I imagine. Because we couldn't get Coors here for the longest time when I was in my 20s and 30s, I think. Well, Yuengling heard the news, surprised Margaret with a gift, a truckload of their finest brew. The brewery said it wanted to show appreciation for her loyal support over the years, proving that if you live long enough, good things do happen. So if you're 107, you get free beer. Good for you. Free beer at 107 years old. You guys want to live to be 107?
Yes.
Nope.
I'm not really set up for that.
Candace, what's the traffic looking like?
We have Michael Bryant.
No, I want to do I want to do the traffic. Forget Michael Bryant. Wait, I want a piece of bread. What do you think, Michael Bryant? So in Rhode Island, what was the snazzy local beer in Rhode Island?
Let's see. The beer in Rhode Island, boy, I don't remember because I was younger, so I wouldn't have been involved in that. I think I don't remember as far as I think it was Olympia. I don't know.
Oh, Olympia was
It was all my younger years, so I wasn't partaking in that.
You mean your hockey years? Is that what you're talking about?
My hockey years, yes.
There you go.
And then we got to Denver and we started freezing Coors because it was 3-2 and you drink what didn't freeze.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I like that. Yeah, that's a good argument.
I bring up Walzer all the time. I'm still waiting for free cars to just show up.
Yeah, exactly. Walzer.com. Where's my car? Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. We have a resentencing Muhammad Noor, of course. That case popped up. Now, third degree, was it murder? What he was first charged with?
He was charged. The first charge was third degree, and the Supreme Court. This has been through the Court of Appeals, and now it went to the Minnesota Supreme Court, and they found that wasn't the proper charge for that case. So that was meant for a broader It was more aimed at people who get like bad heroin into distribution and end up killing somebody with the heroin. It's not directed at one person, but it's out in a group, or you shoot into a crowd. And they tried to tie it into the Knorr case, and they tried to tie it into the Chauvin case, and they charged it out in the other officers' cases that were with the Floyd death. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. So they sent it back to the court to re-sentence because they took away the third degree. The hearing was yesterday, and the two sides, the prosecutor asked for the higher amount for departure from the guidelines, and the defense tried to argue for time served.
Yeah, so he ends up with second-degree manslaughter. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that was the other charge he was convicted of. Under that, the guidelines for it were 4 years. But, we've talked about this before, guidelines aren't really made for police officers because they're based upon what your prior record is, and you don't have a prior record if you're a police officer because you're a police officer. And so it's always kind of weird when you start looking at those guidelines. And, you go back and forth because police officers, we give them extra rights or protections because we allow them to shoot people because, as part of that, doing their job. So you look at things from a police officer standard, but at the same time, you can't give up the Constitution and say you don't have the rights to look at the guidelines, which are for everybody. You have the rights to look at their constitutional rights. You have to follow through on those things also. So it's a weird thing that happens when you get a sentencing of a police officer.
Did it surprise you, the sentence of 57 months?
No, she went higher. She can go all the way that the prosecutor wanted. He is going to be up for probation in 8.5 months. And so we'll see what happens with probation. The word is he's been a model prisoner. It was a very interesting exchange yesterday because the fiancé said, he was in on Zoom and he forgave him for what he did, and it was a very emotional moment for that. And I think it had an effect on the defendant. And then, his dad, after the sentencing, was really upset and was very angry about what happened with the judge. But I didn't see the judge going with time served. I didn't see that was going to happen, and it doesn't surprise me that she did the upward departure the same way they did in the Chauvin case.
Has anybody ever figured out why the hell he even did this?
Oh, why? I don't. Well, it was when you look at it, it was lack of training, and it was a fearful, or it was a reaction to some scary belief that something was scary. I mean, you shoot a woman in a nightgown. That's the kind of thing that pops up at the target range that you're not supposed to shoot. And he did.
Right.
And, I think it was just lack of training and lack of experience. Apparently, there was some history of him pulling the gun a couple of times, and it just...
Really?
It was sad, and, that case is far closer to the Potter case, because you got the issue of, I don't think there was ever any intent to shoot, Justine Lutzig and, any more than, what happened up in Brooklyn Center. But still, you look at it and think, why does she have a gun versus a taser in her hand?
Well, you're absolutely right, because she thought it was her taser and it was her gun. Yeah. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, why did we allow someone to carry a pistol who hasn't been properly trained? I don't understand. How did that happen?
It was part of with Knorr, it was part of a program to, the idea is to get more police officers that are like the community. So you're trying to bring in, officers that would, kind of like the old days of, local people that you could see, people that, would reflect you, that you could like. It's trying to get some kind of connection between some kind of connection between the police and the people. And unfortunately, in that circumstance, he was pushed, and there's some questions whether or not psychologically is in a good position to have the job. And this is sad. It's a horrible deal. I mean, Justine Lutzig shouldn't be dead any more than Floyd should be dead, or Wright, or any of these people. This shouldn't happen.
It should not have. I don't really understand this whole, well, we got to do this, and no, you have to find qualified people like the ones you're looking for, not just anybody.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I really don't understand this at all. And now she's dead, and she's been dead. How long was it? What, 3-4 years ago now? How long ago was it?
I was kind of surprised. He's already served. What was I was
2 years, I think.
He's already served 29 and a half months.
Right.
So it's amazing. They, once he went in, he stayed in. But still, it is really amazing on how time is. We're in that incredibly weird COVID time where days take 5 days or they go by in seconds. It's scary how fast things have gone over that time. But he's already served that much time, and that's why the defense made the argument they did, that it should just be time served. And if it wasn't such a high profile case and didn't involve a police officer, it's possible she might have looked at it and decided, I'll go with the time served. But that wasn't going to happen in this environment. And again, it wasn't going to happen because the guidelines don't apply to police officers in the same way. It's a very weird thing. We don't have a good statute for police officers. We don't have a good guideline for police officers. And like I said a number of times, I don't know that we want one. It's scary to think that we even need one. But, unfortunately, we've had multiple times that we have.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just so sad, the thing. And she just trying to help. And she died because she was trying to help someone else. She thought a woman was being attacked.
Yep, that is true.
Now, the question I do have for you, I know you got to hit the road here in a second, but the question I do have for you, why, if you're sentenced to 57 months, do you have a chance of being bailed out in 8 months? That's a little short time, isn't it?
Well, that's the appropriate time. Once you've served a percentage of your time, you have the right to go in front of probation and see whether or not you can get out at that point. So a committee will look at it and they'll make a determination on whether or not it makes sense. And they look at your history as being in prison, if you've been a model prisoner. And he was moved. Apparently he was in Oak Park, and for security reasons, he was moved to North Dakota. So he's in North Dakota is where he's at. And, so they look at a whole bunch of factors on why and if you should be released. They'll take victim statements. So just like yesterday, there's some more victim statements with her parents coming in and the fiance coming in through Zoom. And so they'll get those kind of things, and then he'll provide support from his dad and other people. And that I understand the frustration of the dad, but, it's one of those when you pop off like that, I don't know that's the best interest for, in 8 months you're going to be back in front of a committee and, are you going to pop off again and say, and so that's a hard thing and it's an emotional thing. But at the same time, it's the long term is, hey, let's look at what we can do here.
Boy, I don't even know what the hell I would do, man. I really don't know if that happened to my daughter, what the hell I'd do. God.
Oh, yeah. If your daughter was, I got some guesses. You wouldn't be throwing pumpkins at the people, I could tell you.
I would not. That is very, very true. But all right, you got a big weekend planned?
Not yet. So we'll see. We'll get some more work done, and hopefully I'll still have a team playing on Saturday. Hopefully we'll see tonight.
I knew he'd get to it. Here we go.
Yeah.
I want it to be the Dodgers and the Red Sox, so you and Mike Evans can go toe to toe, baby.
We once we get to the World Series, we're going to win that. We gotta get there.
Okay. All right. I'll talk.
They got to win 2 in Houston, which is going to be a tall order. But that's the craziness of this team. As soon as you start thinking they're in good shape, they totally go to pieces. And then as soon as you think they're dead, they seem to come back like the Undertaker. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be, hopefully we'll still be playing on Saturday and I'll still be there. Or, I'll be like Drew Barrymore said in Fever Pitch, I'll be winter guy starting on Saturday.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you'll still be there? Where are you?
Still in the game. Still in it.
Oh, I thought you meant at the game.
No, I'm not going to Houston. So, no. Not going to Houston, but if not, I'll be winter guy on Saturday, and we'll go back to work.
There you have it. All right, I will give you a buzz later on today, Pally.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks a lot. The worst Halloween candies for your teeth, according to dentists who should probably know what the bad things are for your teeth, I would imagine. Does that make sense to you? that a dentist would know it's good for your teeth and bad for your teeth? Right?
Yep.
Halloween is next weekend. So consider this fair warning. We have a list of the worst candies for your teeth according to dentists. And I'd like the three people on the show to vote. Do you even like these candies? Because there are a couple of them I wouldn't ever eat anyway. Okay, here we go. Number one is gummies. You like gummies?
Oh, yeah.
Better put something in them.
You mean like Geef gummies?
Well, those would be good. I mean, I remember I wasn't a big fan of them, but I know those Wisconsin folks used to like to soak them in vodka for about 8 years.
Okay.
I do like those gummy worms.
Well, you do?
Creepy crawlies or whatever they're called. They're good.
I never had one, so those are good. Okay. Gummies is because they take a while to chew and pieces can get lodged between your teeth. So number two is caramel candies, and I do love caramel candies. You guys like caramel?
Don't like caramel. Too sticky.
It can be sticky. You're right about that.
Sorry, man.
There's no doubt about it. So caramel candies, they're sticky. They take a long time to dissolve. It can be hard to brush away at the end of the night. No, it's not. I mean, what kind of lame-ass brusher are you? Jesus. Matter of fact, I've got the pumpkin spice caramels on the table that people, when they come in to do the podcast, they have one or two of those. They're pretty damn sticky. They are sticky, no doubt about it. Starburst and Now and Laters. What's a Now and Later? I don't even know what that is. Is it the same as a Starburst? Same kind of candy? Does anybody know?
No, I don't know that one.
I don't either. I never heard of Now and Laters. So we'll just go with Starburst, assuming that Now and Laters is the same thing.
They are.
No, they are.
They are, but they are hard first.
They're what?
They're really hard first. You really got to suck on those babies to get them soft.
You got to moisten them up.
Did you just say I suck? Is that what you just said on the air?
Yes.
That's what I thought I heard. I'm deeply hurt. I want you to know. They're tacky, so they can pull on fillings and crowns. Yeah, you want to be careful, man. You got fillings. You don't want to be chewing on sticky stuff. That's not a good plan. Lollipop. I've never liked lollipops. Isn't that weird for a kid to not like lollipops?
Yeah.
Does the Tootsie Pop count?
They're okay. They're okay. I just never liked lollipops. Suckers. I never cared for them. You guys like them?
I like Tootsie Pops.
Yeah, you're not over the top about them, I can tell.
Yeah, I used to eat them when they gave them to me, but it's not something I'd reach for if there was a variety.
Right.
What movie was that when that'll drop? You just keep sucking on that sucker.
That's right. Keep sucking on that sucker. I do remember that. There's no doubt about it. Pixie sticks. God, I haven't had a pixie stick since I was about 7. I used to love those pixie sticks. Remember that? You'd open one, it's a straw filled with basically Kool-Aid. I mean, it's kind of what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, just colored sugar.
Yeah, colored sugar, basically. Pixie sticks are Wonka Fun Dip. What the Wonka Fun Dip? What the hell is that?
Oh, I loved Fun Dip.
You know what I'm going to do from now on? Somebody pisses me off, I'm going to go, listen here, Wonka Fun Dip. What do you think? They'll be so stunned they won't be able to respond. What do you think of that?
Dude, the 90s had the best candy.
Really? Like what?
I guess early 2000s too. But yeah, Fun Dip. We had baby bottle pops, push-up pops, all the colorful, crazy stuff that turns your tongue different colors.
You know what amazes me? And I think you guys are the ones that pointed this out to me. I'm pretty sure one of you brought this up on the air. They don't make candy cigarettes anymore.
Yeah, they do.
Well, because I was told they don't.
Seen them.
Really?
Uh-huh. I saw that there's a little candy shop inside of Shields, which is an awesome store, and they had candy ciggies.
Really?
What's the one on your way down to Mankato, the big yellow one?
Oh, yeah, that's, what the hell's the name of it? It's
the biggest candy store.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. About 5 years ago, I have to do my math, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, Taylor going to school down there, I stopped, and they had candy cigarettes in there. They have all the old school candies in there. Maybe they've had them for that long. I don't know.
So my question is this. How dim are you? You can't figure out the difference between a candy cigarette and a real one. I mean, I never even thought about that when I used to have candy cigarettes. They were candy.
Mm-hmm. Or remember the chewing gum cigars, the purple cigars?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do remember those. The white owls and the red owls and the pink owls and all that. The gum cigars, absolutely. Yeah, all of these decisions that people make, you don't know the difference between a regular cigar. Well, as a matter of fact, I was watching a movie 3-4 days ago, and they have the descriptor up on the left-hand side, the upper left of what's in the movie. Mm-hmm. It literally said violence, rape, and smoking.
Yeah. They put smoking in there. Isn't that weird?
Right after rape? Really? Okay, well, this ought to be an interesting movie to watch, I would imagine. So, for what it's worth, the dentist said 2 Halloween treats weren't so bad. Regular old chocolate, which dissolves quickly and can be brushed away easily, and caramel apples, because the crisp apples help clean the surfaces of I do love a good caramel apple, baby. Haven't had one in a long. I got to have a caramel apple. I haven't had one in years now. You guys like caramel apples?
Oh, yeah. But same. Haven't had it in years. That's a great idea this weekend.
But why did we do it? Why do we not have caramel apples every year?
They're hard to eat. I gotta cut them up. I'm too scared to break my teeth.
Why don't you brush your teeth once in a while?
They're
solid.
so hard. I don't even really like biting into regular apples. Like, it just scares me. I don't.
It's scary. It's scary.
I don't know why. I'm serious. I always have to cut it.
Hey, Tom, it's the guys at the studio, and I just want to tell you up front that Candace ate an apple this morning, so, be careful. Okay, here's Candace with the traffic. So it seems to me that there's a little...
Okay, well, if you guys have to know, yeah. I had a little incident when I was living in Italy with my lover, and I ended up chipping...
don't ever say that again.
I ended up chipping a part of my front tooth. So I have like a little fake part of my front tooth. So I'm just always terrified it's going to come out when I eat an apple.
How did that happen? Were you blindfolded and he was feeding you items?
Italians are...
Well.
Wow.
What was his name? Iron Mike? I mean, what the hell?
It was making out, wasn't it? You bumped teeth.
Yeah, something happened there.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Was he Bucky Beaver? What the hell kind of teeth did he have?
I don't know. We had a lot of vino.
Hey, Candace, a little quiche. Give me a quiche, Candace. I've got my buck teeth hanging out. And let's go on a date and then a little kiss. It'll be wonderful.
You don't mind the little plaque, do you?
Little plaque,
so good.
Baby. I love it. And I love the Walzer Automotive Group, Walzer.com, and Doug Sprinthal just a couple of minutes from now, ladies and gentlemen. Walzer Automotive brings you more of the KQ Morning Show. The Walzer announces, of course, WalzerBuysCars.com. Walzer's paying top dollar for vehicles, whether you buy from them or not. Simply go to WalzerBuysCars.com and get your instant offer. Walzer Automotive Group, Walzer.com. And, of course, Doug Sprinthal, the lovely and talented Doug Sprinthal. But first, the lovely and talented Bob Sansevier. I mean, all we got is lovely and talented on this show. It's all I know.
It's kind of new for me to be called lovely or talented.
Well, I'm here to say, Yeah.
It goes without saying, I guess. Well, Sprinthal is as lovely and talented as they come, no doubt about that.
So, Sandy, any surprises on this one? Look, the Vikings did try to lose it, but they didn't. They did win. You got to give them credit.
They're 3-3, and the season is there for them to take or to fall to pieces, and kind of leaning toward the fall to pieces because they've got 3 of the 4 are 5-1, and the fourth one is 4-2. There are teams there with and Baltimore, the Chargers, and the Packers. You could see any two of those teams from each conference could wind up in the Super Bowl. The Ravens look like the best teams in the AFC. And you can make an argument that the Packers could wind up being in there, or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys team is stacked. And the Vikings, it was really bad news on Monday when they put Patrick Peterson on injured reserve, because that meant they knew 2 weeks was not going to be enough. It's a bad hamstring injury. I don't think they're going to have him for any of those games. Because it's 3 games he'll be out, so he could really only come back the Packer game, and I just don't see that he would be back for that, maybe. But without him, teams will have a field day thrown against Cam Dantzler and Bashad Breeland.
Yeah, Bob, I'm trying to understand this team because they move along and they're looking really, really good, and then the fourth quarter comes and they just fall apart. What the hell is that?
Canada It's the same thing with Jerry Burns as the coach, Tom. None of these teams can put a team away. You're up by 11 with less than 5 minutes to play, and then it was a great comeback, but you never should have been in that position. You let this team that was horrible all game offensively go 96 yards on you.
I know. I don't get it. What happened?
I think a lot of it is there's not a sense of winning, and they don't have enough guys on that team that know how to win and how to put a team away. And Peterson was one of the few, I think, defensively. And also, I put a lot of this what happened on coaching. I don't recall them blitzing. They figured that their front four, they were getting to him. They were getting the ball. Well, they didn't. And because of it, he completed 2 fourth-down passes to guys that were dropping the ball all day. So I think that's on Zimmer. He should have been blitzing because you got a guy in his end zone to throw, and you could have just got a safety, and it would have been over. But nope, you just let him go back there, and they have time to throw. So I'm not impressed with this team at all. Some people say, they could be 5-1 or 6-0. No, they could be 0-6.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just not a team you can count on.
But that's the Vikings. It always has been the Vikings. You have never been able to count on the Vikings.
No, it's terrible, Tom, that this team, year in and year out, doesn't matter who the coach is, you can always count on them to just go down right to the end. No matter how big they might have a lead, they're going to fold. The one thing I will say about this year, Kirk Cousins, you cannot say it's his fault for what's gone wrong. He really has played well.
Yeah, he has. There's no doubt about it.
So there is that. That's one good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't.
You got the Wild and the Wolves to get all excited about now.
You know what I'd like to do is one time in my life, I'd like to sit and watch the Vikings and relax. Is that ever going to happen in my lifetime, do you think?
No. And you know what I think about, Tom, when people talk about they've been watching all these years and they keep hoping it'll get better? This goes back, 10 years? Remember the guy who decided he wasn't going to shave his beard after the last Super Bowl until he went to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
And he wound up dying with a beard down to his ankles.
Yep, he did. You're right.
So it just doesn't change.
It doesn't. I mean, why? And there's all these different owners. There's all these different players. What is it? What is it?
Maybe they're cursed. I don't know.
Yes, they're cursed.
You're right. If the coaches change, the players change, but there's something there about that team that doesn't change or that franchise. And maybe there's a lot of other teams that feel, if you're the Detroit Lions, you must feel like nothing's ever going to change for you either.
Right.
But, this one, though, it's got to be tough to be a Vikings fan. And we've talked about this a few weeks ago. You would be in your mid-40s to not have been, and you never would have been on this planet the last time the Vikings played in the Super Bowl. It's that long ago.
It is. Well, I mean, Bob, your Detroit Lions, you just referenced that. What has it been? 67 years since they won the NFL championship. No, 1954. Oh, I thought it was 54.
Oh, it might be into the 50s. Yeah.
We'll have to check that out.
It's so long ago. I don't have a clue.
We weren't born yet, or some of us were.
Yeah. I have no idea. I probably wasn't.
It's just
you probably weren't.
Nah, probably not. But Bob, right now it's really hard because the Twins are not very good. The Vikings are not very good. The Wild will see. The Timberwolves will see, but they've never had a barn burner of a season either. So it's tough. And the University of Minnesota football team is mediocre as they can be, and actually I don't think they're very good at all. There's nothing to watch. The basketball team's ranked 14th at the University of Minnesota. I mean, come on. What's going on, Bob?
Well, you know what? I think that winter could be interesting. The Wild look like they could really be a very good team.
That's what I hear.
The Wolves, too early to get too excited, but but there is talent on that team. And maybe having new ownership, because these guys they're energized, and maybe this franchise can get energized as well. It would be great to have a winter that's fun to watch teams play, and you don't have to deal with the disappointment of the Vikings. You won't have to be disappointed with the Wolves of the Wild until spring.
Yeah, that's true.
You got that.
No,
that Wild team, Tom, it does look like it's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The way it started out the season. So we'll see how that does progress. And I give you the update every week. The St. John's rugby team, they're ranked third in the nation. So I'll be going to watch my son play tomorrow. Yep.
So there are two other rugby teams in the country? Take that home with you.
What are you talking about? Hey, a few years ago, long before my son went there, they wound up playing Duke and beat Duke for the national title.
Yeah.
They're playing some D1 teams in there, too. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure out how the game is played.
Well, you'll be fine. What is it?
I'm working
touchdown.
on that.
Touchdown, Bob. That's all I know is touchdown.
Yeah, touch the ball down and you score. I did say, Tom, now, I didn't realize this. The last week's game, you could get, and I think it's called the goal line or the end line, which would be points, right? Except if you don't touch it down, you don't get the points, and that's what happened. This kid couldn't get the ball down, and my son was one of the ones under him, like lifting him up and keeping him from touching the ball down, and they didn't score. So that's another new thing I learned. It's
about,
a fascinating sport.
All right, Sandy, we'll be watching. We'll talk to you next week and see what the hell happens well, they don't have a game this weekend, but next week we'll find out.
As Mike Bryan told me the other day, they can't lose.
They cannot lose this week. You're absolutely right. All right, Sandy, behave. Thanks a lot. Bob Sansevier, ladies and gentlemen, your Minnesota Vikings have the week off. They have a bye week, and then they come back on Halloween night, on Sunday night, to play your Dallas Cowboys. That'll be a pretty interesting game to watch. I always like those Halloween night games, don't you? Especially on that Sunday, when Halloween's on a Sunday. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a novelty. It's fun.
You know damn right. If you know what I'm saying. Is Dougie ready to go? Can?
Yeah.
Doug Sprinthal.
The Stones are in town already.
That's what I understand. I heard that Mick and the boys are in town.
Comfort Inn out on Cedar Avenue.
Yes, I'm sure. Right by the bridge there, right?
Right.
God, what the hell's wrong with you?
I was on hold for a while, and I could tell you were talking to Sandy because I can only hear you. I can't hear people that call in. So this is what I heard. Really. You can kind of go on and on because you would say something about every 15, maybe 20 seconds or so. It was pretty funny. I was just laughing about it.
Sandy's a good man, no doubt about it. Oh, by the way, I did get one text after my introduction of Sansevier this morning. Several people texted me and said, Sansevier talented? With a question mark. What do you think?
Well, it's Friday. You're always in a good mood right before a 2-day weekend, right?
I suppose that is true, yes.
I know I am.
I love Sandy.
Hey, I wanted to talk about something that we're doing group-wide that I kind of embarrassed that I didn't mention before because the drive is, we've had a food drive for the last couple of weeks, and Saturday is the last day. So you can drop off dry goods for food shelves at any of our dealerships. I'm going to list them all. And also, when we do this every year, and the foundation kicks in $1 per pound for every food, for all the food that gets donated. I think last year we got about 30,000 pounds of food, which was great. So here's all the dealerships in Burnsville: Subaru, Honda, Nissan, and Mazda. They're pretty much right next to each other. A little farther down the road, Randy Qualley's place, Walzer Experienced Autos. Then in Bloomington, the Toyota store right next to the old house of J-Lo, current house of Kevin Black, Buick GMC. Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram is in Hopkins. Wayzata Nissan is in Wayzata on 394 right before you get to town. Coon Rapids Nissan, the new house of J-Lo up in Coon Rapids. Roseville, Buick GMC. Polar Chev and Polar Mazda up on Highway 61. And last but not least, Subaru in South St. Paul. We actually also have 5 collision body shops around the Twin Cities that are accepting food donations as well. So if you have a little something extra, happen to be near one of the Walzer stores, drop something off. We'd appreciate it, and we're going to donate money out of the foundation, and it all goes to local food shelves. That's a wonderful thing. Who was that? Paul that started that at the beginning, or was it their dad? It's Actually, Jack is
I thought so, yeah.
their father, who passed away a few years ago. I think he was in his early 90s. He had a good run, but he was kind of. There aren't very many of these guys, so he was a great businessman. He was kind of hard-nosed and started the empire. He was also a flaming lefty and gave money away like crazy. It was kind of unusual. Not that Republicans don't donate money as well. I'm not trying to pick on him, but it was when Paul took over Jack's office, you could tell which pictures Jack had left behind because it's him and his oldest son and Obama. And then Paul's got pictures of Paul and Margaret Thatcher on the other wall. It was kind of interesting.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, as a matter of fact.
But he, with Jack, in fairness, started the first member, automotive and only automotive member in the Keystone Club that still donates 5% pre-tax every year. And sort of started the whole philanthropy thing. And the kids carried it on, which is great.
It is very impressive. There's no question about that. Boat out of the water already?
I think so. It was supposed to be out early this week, so I haven't been down there. I don't, boating isn't all that great when it's 28 degrees outside.
I can understand that. Yes, absolutely.
We'll do a little fall house prep, get ready for windows, clean out the gutters and all that sort of stuff this weekend. Should be super fun. Same thing that I'm sure you're going to be doing.
Yes, I'll be out there washing those windows. There's no doubt about it. Shoulder to the wheel.
Film at 11.
All right, Palomino, we will talk to you next week.
Yeah, I'm going to one of your joints tomorrow for dinner, Barrio. So.
Well, you ordered which one?
Edina.
Oh, I love the 50th. Say hello to everybody over there. Get Emmanuel. Emmanuel's a great waiter.
I want to go to Barrio. Let's go make a reservation. And I said, okay, I don't want to drive all the way downtown, so we'll go to Edina.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just walk in and stare at you the whole time.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Table 47, put them out by the dumpster.
Exactly.
That would be really funny, actually.
Well, have a great time. Absolutely. They're great people over there. Thanks a lot, Dougie.
Yeah. Thanks.
Former Playboy bunny Bridget Marquardt has sensationally claimed she was visited by the ghost of her ex, Hugh Hefner. Nice jugs. Is that how he did it? Well, she was in the Playboy Mansion. God, this woman looks a lot like somebody else. I'm trying to who the hell she looks like.
You probably recognize her. She was like a thing from that. I was like oddly obsessed with that show. It was, what was it called? The Girls Next Door. It was about her and the two other girls that they. Three of them were dating Hugh Hefner, and it was about their lives and then play. I have like the whole series on DVD. It's really weird.
You have a pitiful life. You know that, right?
I was a weird kid.
No, not you. Bridget Marquardt, 48, of one of Hefner's many flames, claimed to have seen a ghost of the Playboy founder following his death September 2017. In the October 13th Dark House podcast episode titled, Is It Haunted or Is It Hollywood? The Harlow Burn House. Marquardt went into detail about what she claimed to have happened. Marquardt claimed Hefner came to her shortly after he died at age 91 from sepsis, brought on by an E. coli infection. The model added, he said, my darling, and he put his arms around me. I could feel the hug. I could feel his smoking jacket. I could smell his cologne. It was so real. But that was not the only occasion when Marquardt said she believed she experienced supernatural events and described a supposed encounter with a ghost in her bedroom. The Girls Next Door star shared her experience on the Dark House podcast and said she spotted the specter while she was in her Playboy Mansion bedroom with her friend and sister. Marquardt told the podcast host, all of a sudden, out of the corner of all of our eyes, we saw a woman standing in my closet area. Well, this is a woman? Okay, well, we'll find out what that's all about. There's no exit out there, and I'm on the second floor. There's no other doorway in my room. She continued, she had black, long, and kind of stringy hair. She was very pale, very skinny, wearing a white T-shirt that looked way too big for her. And she had on like black acid wash jeans. She was just standing there, staring. When her friend saw the supposed ghost, Marquardt said she started to cry while her sister was in shock. Marquardt claimed the supposed ghost then vanished almost immediately, but that she did recognize it as being a social secretary who she had previously met at the Playboy Mansion during a photo shoot. What happened to the Playboy Mansion? Does the company still own it? Does anybody know?
No, I don't know what they're done with that.
Oh, it says here, Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion protected from demolition by new owners. So they were going to demolish the house? I'll get to that in a second. I did not know that. I'll click on that in a second. The reality TV star continued to tell the host that when she came to live with Hefner several years later, she learned the woman had died from cancer. Marquardt added, "I'm pretty sure it was her standing there, and I think she came to see the new addition to the mansion." Referring to the pet that she had adopted that day, Marquardt said she came to see the new pet. Okay, once you calm down there, sister.
That's creepy.
Well, it is creepy, or else she's full of crap. One of the two.
I don't know. She's always been into that stuff.
Oh, she has the ghosts and all that stuff?
Why would you make that up, too?
Well, that's true. That's a good point. I don't have any idea why you'd make something like that up, but I suppose some people do. The late Hugh Hefner's historic Playboy Mansion has secured permanent protection by Los Angeles City. Its latest owner since Hefner's death at age 91 in 2017 is Darren Metropolis, heir to the multi-billion-dollar fortune who lives next door. Metropolis bought the infamous mansion. Is it infamous or is it notorious? Which is it? At L.A.'s Holmby Hills for $100 million in 2016, agreeing to let Hefner live out the rest of his life there and set about renovating the property, including work to repair its facade after the godfather of Playboy died in September. Now Metropolis has entered a permanent protection covenant with the city council that shields the building from demolition, including by any future owners when the property is one day sold. The 34-year-old, who is with his father, Dean Metropolis, co-owner of Twinkies manufacturer Hostess Brands. You remember why they're co-owners of the Hostess Brands? Because Dean Metropolis, the dad, bought Hostess as a joke for his son's birthday.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Yes.
He thought it was funny, so he bought Hostess as a gift. I never got a gift quite that nice, I got to be honest with you. He bought the Playboy Mansion from Playboy Enterprises, which had owned the property since 1971, so they will not be demolishing the Playboy Mansion. 29-room Playboy Mansion, known for extravagant parties thrown by Hefner and attended by playmates and celebrity guests, particularly James Caan, right? Wasn't he at all the parties?
Oh, yeah, he's one of those mainstays. Studio 54 and Hef's Mansion.
That's what I hear anyway. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. We have great guests booked all day. I don't Candace just because I don't want to.
Cool. I'm cool with that.
You're cool with that? You're good to go. I think it's great, though. We got a lot of great guests coming up. One of them is up next, KQ.
We'll be right back with more KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Tom Bernard here. Thanks for listening to our KQ Morning Show podcast, sponsored by our friends at Walzer Automotive Group. Walzer is proud to be the Twin Cities' one low-price dealer group. That means upfront, no haggle pricing on every single new and used vehicle they sell. With 24 dealerships over 2 states and a love-it-or-leave-it return policy, you can buy with confidence. I encourage you to experience the Walzer way to buy your next vehicle. See Walzer.com for details. Thanks for listening and enjoy our show.
The KQ Morning Show is back. Let's go! 92 KQRS.
Liar.
Guess what?
What?
Our guest is ready.
Barry's ready to go?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Barry Bostwick, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
Magnificent. Well, now that you're here, even better.
Oh, God bless you. Isn't that wonderful?